You've probably been taught that you should never brake in a corner when riding a motorcycle because it's dangerous, there's a risk of falling. But in this video, I'm going to tell you the exact opposite and explain why you must brake in corners, what trail braking is, and why it can actually prevent so many motorcycle accidents if used correctly. Before starting this new video, I'd like to thank the Kawasaki Debert dealership on Via Quintino Sella in Bari for providing a perfect bike to show you what trail braking is and how to use it. That's because this Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX will help us thanks to its screen with two themes, and the second theme gives us some extra insights to help us understand what to do when taking a corner with trail braking and how the bike will respond. But first of all, what you're probably wondering is, what on earth is trail braking? Actually, conceptually, it's nothing complex. Simply put, what do many of us do when approaching a corner? Naturally, they pull the front brake lever to slow the bike down, but a moment after slowing, even before entering the corner, they suddenly let go of the lever. This has a series of effects that I'll tell you about in a moment. Trail braking is the complete opposite. It means applying the brakes before the corner, and once you start leaning the bike, you slowly release the brake. With the turn already started, you basically reach the apex with the brake still applied, then you release it and simultaneously start giving it gas. It might not seem like a huge difference, you might even be convinced you're already trail braking, but trust me, I used to think I was too, and even today I think I've more or less mastered this technique, but often I find myself doing exactly what I described in the first example. And as I was saying, this has one effect in particular that's very dangerous. We have to use the right word, dangerous, when riding a motorcycle. Because what happens when we brake with the front, the suspension, the fork dives, because obviously weight and load are being distributed to the front of the bike. At the same time, by adding weight to the front, the fork compresses and the tire also flattens against the ground. What does this lead to? That the front tire, which at the moment of corner entry is what helps us most both to turn in and to have grip, gets loaded up and its contact patch becomes larger. By doing this, the front tire will have more grip, and this is fundamental in a corner. Now let's go back to the first example. If we apply the brakes, load the fork, the tire is loading up, then we enter the corner, and at the most critical moment when we need grip, what do? We let go. That's just crazy. So not only will the tire stop being loaded like it was just a second before, but the fork will also suddenly extend. Then this means that at the moment we need more grip, that grip we had built up during the braking phase will be lost. But these aren't the only benefits of trail braking. Another, for example, is that if we take a corner, maybe with a powerful and heavy bike like this Ninja 1000 SX, using trail braking in the corner helps us shift the mass, helping the front wheel turn. And the last benefit is also being right there with the brakes in hand until we see the exit of the corner. And this helps us a lot, especially on roads we don't know, where we don't know if there might be a pothole or something, or even on roads we do know if there's a dead animal or a log on the ground that wasn't there before. We're already there ready with the brake in hand, we just have to manage the braking. But this means that from the other point of view, we completely eliminate reaction times because we're already braking. And eliminating reaction times, I don't need to do the math for you, means we can avoid or brake before an obstacle in a safer way. Trail braking is generally done with the front, precisely for this reason, not just of braking, but also of load, of shifting the center of gravity towards the front, but it can also be done easily with the rear brake. Clearly you lose the geometry aspect, but you also lose the braking power provided by the front, which is much greater than that of the rear. So if you want to do trail braking only with the rear brake, you can. It's not highly recommended, but above all, you have to start braking much earlier. And then let's also debunk another myth that you can't brake with a motorcycle in a corner. It's absolutely not true. You can brake on a bike in a corner with both the rear and the front. Don't believe that friend who might tell you, once I braked in a corner on a bike, I'll never do it again because as soon as I touched the lever, I went down. That person didn't fall because they touched the lever. That person fell because they probably didn't do a progressive braking, but simply in the corner they saw a pothole, an animal, and did this. Exactly what trail braking instead makes us avoid, because we'll enter the corner, in fact, with the brakes pulled, we'll watch what happens in front of us until we see the exit of the corner, and at that point we can release the brakes and start giving it gas. That type of behavior instead is called panic braking. I've already told you about it in other videos. It's precisely when instead you don't expect to have to brake, and then you have to brake suddenly, you do an emergency braking, and very often you don't have the sensitivity to do this. Partly due to lack of experience, partly precisely because it's called panic braking. In a panic you do this. And at that point, yes, if you have a bike without ABS, you're really screwed. If you have one with ABS but without an inertial platform, you're probably still screwed. If instead you're lucky and have a bike with an inertial platform and cornering ABS, maybe in that case, even if you do that type of braking, you could stay upright. So this also doesn't seem like an unimportant reason to start mastering this technique. Trail braking is generally done with the front, precisely for this reason, not just of braking but also of load, of shifting the center of gravity towards the front, but it can also be done easily with the rear brake. Clearly you lose the geometry aspect, but you also lose the braking power provided by the front, which is much greater than that of the rear. So if you want to do trail braking only with the rear brake, you can. It's not highly recommended, but above all, you have to start braking much earlier. But because I want it to be absolutely clear what trail braking is and how to do it correctly, I first want to show you up close what the hand should do. Then we'll head out on the road and see it in action. At this moment, we haven't entered the turn yet. The bike is still upright and we're simply adjusting the bike's braking power. Once we've found the power we need to slow down in time for the turn, what we need to do as we lean the bike over is exactly this. Progressively, the more we lean the bike, I'll straighten it to show you, the more we lean the bike, the more we release the lever, like this, in this way. I'll show you now with the bike upright and throttle open. I close it, grab the brake, I'm braking, I start the lean, I hold the brake, and progressively the more I lean the bike, the more I release the brake, until I can get back on the gas at the exit of the turn. But since you can never have too much clarity when talking about these road safety situations, now we're moving to the road. Come with me inside the helmet and I'll show you both what I do with my hand and thus how trail braking works. And thanks to the Ninja 1000 SX from Debert, I'll show you on screen through a detailed shot what happens both on the brake lever, through the telemetry we see on the monitor, and with the lean angle, so as to understand well how far to carry the braking and how to then be smooth even on the exit of the turn. Before looking at the other shots, which will still be very useful, let's focus on this one from the helmet. Watch what my hand does. I'll brake the wrong way without trail braking. So I'm approaching, look, I brake. When I've reached my comfort speed, what do? I let go and then I set up. This is completely wrong. We load the front end, then we release it, and so the bike starts doing this. And above all, we don't benefit from all the load on the front that squashes the tire and makes the front end grip more, as we can instead do by using trail braking. Focus on my right hand. Look, I brake, I hold the brake, and only now do I release it. I brake, I stay there, and I release slowly while I give it gas. Great, like that. Again, I brake and stay on the brakes, I release them progressively. Did you see? The front fork has a completely different behavior. I arrive here instead, I brake, I release, I set up. Did you see how the fork unloaded? We brake, and slowly we release. That's trail braking explained. And here we are back, guys. We're back at the base. So that's all for today's video. I hope you first of all understood the trail braking technique and that now, as soon as you finished watching this video, you can go out and start practicing precisely because there are so many benefits to this type of technique. The video was also requested by one of you whom I thank for the inspiration to make it. And in any case, let me know, as so many of you did for the counter steering video, if indeed once you understood the technique you found the benefits I described to you. In any case, we'll see each other again very, very soon in a future video. A big greeting from Andrea, and until next time.